There's a shift happening. Everybody is feeling the shift, especially Black people. Speaking specifically to Black entrepreneurs, you're the reason why I've rebooted this channel. You're the reason why I wrote the Black Entrepreneurial Revolution, because we're tired of sitting on the sidelines. We're tired of waiting on some benevolent white person to tap one or two of us on the shoulder, says, okay, for you to come in, but the rest of you, you kind of have to, go on about your business and struggle and not realize your true and full potential. No, those days are over with. That's this shift that we're feeling, right? It's a very uh, tense shift, right? You know something big is happening, but you can't quite place your finger on it. So I know I want to do my part. I want to help those who I know that I do my best work with. My most transformative work is done with Black entrepreneurs. The universal principles that I share and espouse and I try to live by can, of course, help anyone, right? And help all of us do better and be better in our lives. But again, my most transformative work, the things that really move the needle, it's specifically designed for Black entrepreneurs, right? Um, because there's a mentality that has to be in place in order for a lot of these principles and these strategies to really take root, and then for some action to be implemented on the back end of that, right? Having an employee mindset just doesn't do it, right? We've been programmed for centuries to fit into a system that was not built for us, not designed for us to realize our true potential. And so an entrepreneur readily receives this information. He or she has already made the mental adjustments, the emotional adjustments to take charge and control of their own lives and take responsibility for their well-being and the income generation and the wealth building and the legacy, all of the things that most of us say we want to do in life, creating wealth and having impact. It's very difficult to do that with an employee mindset. It takes an entrepreneurial mindset. And so that's why I rebooted this channel. That's why I wrote uh, the Black Entrepreneurial Revolution, not just as a book, right? It's not a traditional book. I want it to be a guide. I want it to be a call to arms. I want it to be a roadmap for ownership, wealth creation, legacy creation, but probably above all of that, freedom. Right? That's the whole purpose, free to be who and what we truly are. So I've been an entrepreneur practically all my life. I've probably held three jobs in my life, and I think I've mentioned none of them have gone past 90 days. I think, again, just a summer job on and off at the bakery that probably went around 90 days. Uh, Working with my cousin throwing bricks, that didn't last. That was just a summer, every summer, but nothing long past 90 days. I've always been an entrepreneur. And so I've seen how the sausage is made, right? I've been in the trenches in the real estate industry, in the entertainment industry, performing and behind the scenes, promoting, producing, all of those things, merchandising. So I've seen how the sausage is made. I've worked with 6 and 7 figure business owners and entrepreneurs. I've shared the stage and platforms with legends like Dr. George C. Frazier, Dr. Dennis Kimbrough, Dr. Les Brown, Lisa Nichols, Linda Clemens, Dr. Michael V. Roberts, just to name a few. And it is those interactions, those interviews that I've had working with these entrepreneurs and business owners that I've come to the realization. I mean, it's something that's been brewing for a very long time, but again, there's a shift that has happened. Um, I've seen I've come to the realization that there's a need for a roadmap that speaks directly to our issues, our struggles, um, our strengths, our ambitions, our goals, our unique callings that many of us have, but we just don't have a good message that resonates with us. So I wrote something that I believe speaks to that, right? We need something that tells us, no, you don't need permission from Donald Trump or anybody in Congress. You know, you don't need permission from the Republican Party or the Democratic Party. You can build something powerful. You can build something impactful. You can build something that creates legacy, that builds wealth. You have the power and the capabilities to do for yourself. God has created every creature has the ability and the capacity to do something for itself. And here we are, the greatest of God's creation, and we have that ability. We have that capacity to do something for ourselves. But again, generation after generation of programming and systemic inequality has really put us in a very bad state of mind, in a very bad position. And so that's why I wrote this book, right? Uh, the Black Entrepreneurial Revolution. And we've been speaking about the shift. And so the subtitle is Time Dictates the Agenda. I'll go in future videos where I got that from and how I've fallen in love with the study of time. But that's another story for another time. I just wanted to, again, reboot this channel and officially do a video talking about this book, The Black Entrepreneurial Revolution, and how this book is specifically written to help us to cultivate and develop the mindset, the methods, and the strategies to shift from being a consumer to becoming a creator and a producer, to help us master the mental game and break, as I mentioned already, those the generational programming that has happened throughout slavery, sharecropping, school, corporate America. All of this was designed to make us become employees, not think of ownership. So we want to break those mental barriers. That's why I wrote this book. This book also should help you with building teams, systems, automation, becoming acquainted with technology, the ever-advancing technology and artificial intelligence and all of the other digital tools that are at our disposal at this time in history, and to learn how to do that without burning out, without flaming out and say, Brother B, I can't, it's kind of crazy. So I wrote this book to cover some of those things, to how to use AI and these digital tools to compete on a global scale, a global level. And again, without someone else's permission, you don't need permission now to compete at the highest level. And most of all, because I don't want this video to be too long, I wrote this book so that you can tap into your unique gifts, your unique talents, God-given unique talent, strengths, gifts and passions and interests and curiosities to build something that could quite possibly outlive you when we start talking about creating legacy, having an impact. But creating something that outlives you normally has to be in tune with something that God wants to be lasting. And so how do we align with that, right? That comes back to what God gave us to align with what it is that he wants us to do. I'm praying and hoping that this book helps to provide some strategies, some frameworks some motivation and some inspiration to get us on the path to doing that. So as I said, this is not a business book. I didn't get into this or start this project, and I haven't been this excited about a singular project in 20 years. And I've done conversations with Black millionaires, that was kind of the thing that put me on the map. I stumbled into how I built this unique business model of turning my knowledge and expertise into digital products online, and that was called notification of payment received. And again, from that allowed me to share the platforms and stages with legends and people that I highly admire, and they become friends of mine. And with all of that, I have not been this excited about a singular project that I've taken on, like the Black Entrepreneurial Revolution. So this is not a traditional business book. I can tell you that straight off the jump. This is not a traditional business book. This is about liberation. This is about freedom. This is about ownership. This is about creating legacy. If you're a Black entrepreneur and you truly have the desire to become one, if you haven't identified with being an entrepreneur, because I believe all of us were born, as I mentioned, with the capacity to do for self. That's what entrepreneurship is. But we've, again, we've been, in Wakanda, they call them the colonizers, right? So the colonizers, we speak the tongue of the colonizers, right? So we speak English and the French and the Spanish, right? So entrepreneur is a French word, but it simply means tapping into your creativity, your unique gifts, and building something. Of course, they tried to give it their own, in the English language of what an entrepreneur is, taking risk and all of that. And again, that feeds into corporate America, right? So it feeds into that business philosophy of capitalism, which I'm not going to sit up here and argue about that right now, but that made all of us think that we're not entrepreneurial, right? That there's no way that I can do something for myself, Brother Bedford. There's no way that I got something special, that if I do the right things, that I can develop something that can be of service to hundreds of people, thousands of people, maybe even millions of people. And it's what I love to do. It's what I was born to do. Many of us don't think we can do that. And so I'm hoping, as we said, we're breaking those barriers with this book, that this is what this is about. So if you have a desire to get back to yourself, right, which many do now, right? Layoffs are mounting. Even if you have jobs, many of us have gone into careers and work jobs that we've grown weary of, tired of, and now with the pressure of layoffs and all of those things, now you're saying, well, what else do I do? Well, you discover yourself and you do for self. And when we're talking about self, I'm not talking about the European concept of rugged individualism. I'm talking about doing for self on the micro level with yourself, but then there's a collective self that we need to become participants of and really engage with. And so I'm hoping that this book, I'm praying that this book becomes a guide, a call to action, right? A clarion call, a revolutionary call for Black people everywhere to start thinking about, what is it that I should be doing to contribute to this wonderful universe that God has created, this wonderful planet Earth that other people are destroying? How can I join the revolution to do my part to make this, as we sing that song, a better place, right? We want this to be a better place, but this can't become a better place if we don't become who and what we are and begin to do for self. We've officially entered into the do for self economy, right? So no matter what they're calling it, everybody is being pressured into or being called to do something for yourself. And that does not, again, I got to reiterate it, because again, I know we got to unwind this thinking, this European thinking, and get back to who and what we are. When I'm talking about doing for self, I'm not talking about you being selfish and now everybody's your haters and now you're on guard. I'm talking about going inside and discovering who you are, and now cultivating that, your unique gifts, your unique strengths, and now you begin to connect with other brothers and sisters who have unique talents, skills, and gifts that they're extremely excited and motivated by. And now this becomes the perfect marriage, the perfect relationships for us to do something bigger than ourselves. And so that's what I mean. And again, we're going to unpack, that's what the channel is for. That's what we're going to be talking about on this channel. So make sure you subscribe. Make sure you um, let family and friends know to come on over, because this is what we're going to be talking about with Black entrepreneurship, Black entrepreneurs. So if you're an employee, you're going to be sick of me. There's going to be plenty of employees probably start jumping into the comments. And again, this is not, I'm not attacking employees. I'm attacking the ideas of what we're facing and saying that even if you're an employee, one of my other dear friends, Dr. Randall Pinkett, in his book, Black Faces in White Places, I believe that's the title. I hope I'm not butchering it, but look it up. Dr. Randall Pinkett, who actually won season 4 of The Apprentice under Donald Trump, and has been a very vocal critic of Donald Trump, but he's also gone on to build a company worth hundreds of millions of dollars after winning The Apprentice. Actually, his company was started before then. But in his book, he talks about becoming an intrapreneur. And you may have heard that term. As even if you are working within a company, you should still have the entrepreneurial mindset, and you should still be functioning as a person who's creating value based upon your unique talent, skills, gifts, and strengths, your unique divine gifts. Because if not, this is where people are afraid of artificial intelligence or robotics and things like that replacing you, because now you're replaceable if you're doing mundane tasks that are really not unusual, right? They're not different. There's nothing super special about them. But when you tap into who you are, what makes you special, you can't be replaced. And that's whether you're working inside of a company or working outside of a company, doing your own thing. I call that being entrepreneurial. I call that doing for self. And so, yeah, I'm challenging normal language, all of these things in this next phase of my life. And so that's why I wrote this book. I'm inviting you to grab your copy. The link will be somewhere below the video. And after you read it, it's a quick read too. I mean, you can literally read this in a setting. I didn't want the book to be, this thing where you couldn't read it in one setting. I didn't want it to be intimidating to people. You can literally sit down in an hour or so, 2 hours, or 2 different settings and read this book. In fact, I know you're going to read this book multiple times. Again, it should be a reference book. It should be a guide to help you navigate your entrepreneurial journey, right? And that's the companion to that is, of course, this channel, but there's also something else that I want to give you for free. I want you to read the book, but then I want you to take the Black Entrepreneur Scorecard. This will help you to gauge where you are as an entrepreneur and what you need to work on and what you need to do to become a successful entrepreneur. That's free to you. So the links for the book and the entrepreneurial scorecard will be somewhere in the comments below this video, in the description somewhere around this video. And that will help you to determine what your next move should be. Now, I got to say this. This is a movement. This is a revolution. It's happening. Whether you participate or not, layoffs are going to continue. Technology is going to continue to advance and get faster and quote unquote get smarter, as people are saying, right? You can't get away from the time and what is happening, right? That's why I said the time dictates the agenda, right? Your agenda has to be in alignment with the time. And the time is dictating that you and I do something for ourselves and enjoy the freedom and the happiness and the joy that we know we deserve, but we can't get it up under the previous thinking and mindsets that we've embraced so wholeheartedly. And that's why this is rattling a lot of us. So this is bigger than me. It's about us. I think it's strange when you just feel like you have, which we all have, our own purpose. And everything that I've been doing up until this point has been the raw material that has been preparing me for this time to help spark a Black entrepreneurial revolution. It starts with all of us making the decision to get better, to read, to study, to apply ourselves, to discover who and what we are, and start building. It's really that simple. You don't need permission. You don't even need my permission. You don't even have to buy the book. You don't have to subscribe to the channel. You don't have to take the scorecard. But you do have to think about doing something for yourself. So however you get that information, however you begin to find out who and what you are, what you're supposed to do, and what is your unique gifts, your unique skills, your strengths, if you want to discover that on your own, fine. But know that you have to do it. There isn't a benevolent white person or benevolent political party that's going to give you what God has already placed in you. So grab the book, take the scorecard, subscribe to the channel where we're going to have more videos coming out more regularly. I didn't fall asleep on my post, but again, I just wasn't sure of everything that I should be doing. And again, I'm more excited now than I've been in over 20 years about this project. So more videos coming, more strategy, more insight, but more importantly, more truth. That's really all this is about, is talking to us about the truth. And if anyone wants to argue with me about, you having gifts that could be developed and put into the marketplace, you can develop relationships. In fact, you're watching this video and you can't tell me that you haven't had an idea that you've seen manifested in the marketplace and someone has made a ton of money doing it. And now you're like, I had that idea, or I have that, or you're watching people. You might be watching me saying, I can do it better than him. That's true, you can. So get up and do it. Do your thing. And so hit the subscribe button, share it with family and friends. Let's build something together. I'm going to do my best to provide you with strategies, methods, tools, resources, but know for sure that the Black Entrepreneurial Revolution, they say it won't be televised. The revolution won't be televised, but it's damn show over here on YouTube. And the revolution has begun. This is your brother Bedford, and I'll talk to you soon in the next video. Take care.